So this year was the first year that Medora was able to offer a full web and database development class to our upperclassmen. The students in the class were tasked with learning the ins and outs of professional web design, and they had to use that to actually build a website of their own. In this class, my goal was for students to learn all that they needed to know to get an entry-level job in web design. Think of this class as being a strong foundation that they can continue to build upon once they actually get out into the workforce and start to develop their professional skills.
To build our website, it's made up of HTML. HTML is hypertext markup language. That is where you take fonts and colors and links and put it all into one, and it makes you the website.
We also use CSS to make our websites more visually appealing. CSS, or cascading style sheets, is an add-on to HTML to improve the visual assets of the website or code. It helps make your website look nice.
Okay, so one of the ways we learned HTML was through Code Academy. That was the easiest way we learned it, and it was pretty simple that way. To build our sites and programs, we ended up using Replit.com, an integrative developed environment. By coding on Replit, we are able to see what our code is created in real life time and be able to test it. When we first started using Replit, our first task wasn't to really build sites, it was more or less to debug them. We had to analyze glitchy sites and determine what was wrong with them. We built a teacher site, a music festival site, and a bio page for Louis Capaldi.
After finishing our debug projects, we got to create a few test websites of our own on Replit. One of the first we created was a virtual birthday card. This featured HTML, CSS, JavaScript to make an interactive card that a user could open up. We created a water poster on Replit. We had to use divs and CSS to make it organized and look nice. The water robot is still at large.
For our recipe project, we had to find a banana smoothie recipe and put it into our code. It really made me hungry. For our story project, we had to make a short comic or story and show it off visually. This one was mine. It caused Mr. Morris great suffering and pain.
For one of our Replit projects, we had to place together a robot. We had to take parts of the robot that we wanted and get rid of the ones that we didn't need. It was an easy project to accomplish, but the results were pretty hilarious. For our Wondersuite project, we had to create promotional materials for our bakery. We had to create a flyer, a logo, slogan, and advertisement. Everyone had a blast making this project, and the Wondersuite Bakery is still going strong, making imaginary desserts today.
We built a cover letter. A cover letter tells a potential employer about who you are. We took a traditional cover letter and made it digital. We made it more interactive and more appealing for the eye.
To go along with our cover letter project, we made a resume. This is basically like a practice resume to help us job hunt for the real world after we graduate high school. We took a basic resume and we created them. Then we used code to make it more visually stunning, to make it more brighter, all that sort of stuff. Both the cover letter and our resume were both important stuff that we had to add to our final portfolio.
Towards the end of the trimester, we experimented with robotics and VexV5. We programmed SDVs, self-driving vehicles, to navigate through a real obstacle course. Bobby finished the obstacle course first. You can see how it worked out to make it through the obstacle course. We had to use parallel processing and iterative design.
This is my portfolio. It is a website that I made in WVD class. A portfolio is something that basically represents a person or their work. Almost everything we've made in the trimester has been put into this website. We each had to make our own style. My favorite part was the robotics obstacle course because I won.
My favorite part about the class in general was probably making the portfolios. My reasoning behind it was because I got to be able to integrate little memes and things like Rick rolling people on it, so I thought that was fun.
So my favorite part of WDD was the way that we all communicated around with each other, and we had always worked together. That was my favorite part. Just making that bonding that you have with your class members is really good, and that was my favorite part of this class.
My favorite part was coding and testing my robot.
If I had any future advice for students, I'd say don't overthink the class because it's way easier than it looks.
My advice for the newer generation would be don't stop believing in the code. Oh, and there's another one. When you are using code on one device, it's also good to look at it on another device, because not only are you able to see it on two different devices, but you're also allowed to see what's wrong with your device and what's right with the other device.
My advice for future students in this class, always have good communication. You need that for your class members. Also, make sure you stay on top of your projects. If not, you can fail.
Communicate well with your classmates and stay up to speed with your projects.
My advice for future students, take web and database development and any other computer science classes that you can. Learn to use technology to code and to create. It's a life skill you'll be glad that you have yours down the road, and it may help you land a job one day. Thank you, and I'd love to see you guys in computer science class next year.